Hello, everyone. I am joined today by Gabe the Grizzly Veksler, fights in Flex Fight Series, October 21st. Gabe, how are we doing today?
Good, good. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure
Thank you for coming out.
to be
Thank
talking
you
to
for
you
taking the
today.
time.
Of course. So, you fight at the Night of the Living Dead event in Flex Fight Series in just a week. Just tell me a little bit about that event in general. Do you think it's going to change the fight night vibes in any way? Because it's like a weird like costume party, or do you think that you're just going to be able to zone out and focus?
I've always been able to block out white noise. Whenever I'm in fight mode, I'm about to walk out. That's all I think about. Most of the time I don't look at the people when I walk out. I just look straight at where I'm going.
So you fight Travis Bullock. Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, I've seen some of his last fights. He loses on the ground. But I've also watched some of his kickboxing fights.
Okay.
And he has some pretty decent striking, but nothing that I can't take.
Okay. So you train at Dante Rivera's with a bunch of very talented young guys. Brandon Smith, James Garrison, Nazar Dimes, Darwin Pena. Who are some of the guys that you're the closest with, and just who are some of your favorite?
You just named some of the guys that I'm the closest with. Rob Beloved, Nick Fionda, Jerry. There's a bunch of people. I can't even name them all at the top of my head. Everybody there, it's the best room to be in. Everybody sharpens each other. Iron sharpens iron, and we're all like a family.
Nice. So I've heard Dante's a little bit crazy. You got any funny stories about him?
He's one of the funniest people
I've
I know. What he does is he takes not just me, but he'll take your phone. You can't leave it open unlocked. He'll text funny things to people, and he'll pretend it wasn't him until it's too late.
How did you end up there?
I live nearby. A bunch of my friends were training there, and I was training somewhere where it was too far for me to drive. I was driving like an hour and 30 minutes each way.
Okay.
So I figured, I can't keep doing that kind of commute, and it's the best place to be, and it ended up being a great move for me.
Okay. So Corey Anderson also trains there. Carl Roberson. How is it to get some work with some of those very high-level guys? How often do you train with guys like that?
They come in pretty often. They're really great guys. They're always helpful. They're super nice. And just being in that environment, Francis Marshall also there, it's crazy. The Caracapas.
Yes. The Caracappa. He's a savage, too.
Yes.
So how did you get in Flex Fight Series? How did you link up with them? Is it because you were at Dante's and you had the teammates that also fought under them?
Yes, Dante.
Okay. So you ended up at Dante's because you had friends in the area and everything. But have you ever switched gyms and gone anywhere else, or you just straight up only go to Dante's?
I only go to Dante's.
Okay. And that was from the start of your career?
No. From the start,
Okay.
I went to George Sullivan Kickboxing Academy. I was trained by Rob Garino.
Okay.
He's still a great friend, and if I ever need anything, he's always there for me. I just couldn't do the commute, and he understands that. And from that point on, I was at Dante's from when I switched over until now.
So I wanted to ask about your love for just kickboxing and mixed martial arts and just fighting in general. Just where did that come from, and why kickboxing specifically?
I felt I never really liked wrestling that much. I did some jiu-jitsu,
Okay.
but I really like striking. I like punching and kicking. I like just the art of it. I think kickboxing in itself, it's more than just fighting. It's a lot of technique, style, and that's really why I like kickboxing so much. I prefer kickboxing over MMA for me. So my long-term goals with fighting, I'm looking to potentially go pro in kickboxing.
Okay. So how much of kickboxing do you feel is like a mental aspect? Because it seems like you have all the physical tools, but how much of it is mental?
A lot of it. A lot of it is mental. Just the training to go through a fight camp. You have to push yourself every day and remind yourself why you're doing it, what your goals are, what the end goal that you're streaming for is, and just keep motivating yourself.
So you used to be a swimmer. How did you kind of transition into fighting? And did you used to compete in swimming? And
I
everything?
did in high school.
Okay.
I competed for 2 years. I did pretty well.
Okay.
But I wasn't going to do that in college or anything like that. I've always liked to fight. Me and my friends used to always box. So my friend John Leonardo, he's a pro boxer from around here. He got me into boxing.
Okay.
And that's how I kind of started.
So you said you went to college. What college did you go to?
Brookdale.
You went to Brookdale. Okay,
Yeah.
I go to Brookdale right now. That's really awesome. What was your major?
Business administration.
Okay, so not very close to fighting. Do you think
No, I
you would see
would.
yourself putting that degree in use at some point?
Well, I actually work in IT.
Okay.
So I do IT staffing.
Okay.
I'm a business development manager and head of talent acquisition
Is
for
it
System Edge.
okay? So it's not your own business, but you.
No,
Okay.
I work for them.
Okay, nice. All right. So, what are some of your favorite beaches to go to in New Jersey? I have to ask if you're a swimmer.
I guess Point Pleasant,
Okay.
Belmar.
So,
Wherever my girl wants to go, honestly.
so who were some of your inspirations when you first started out in the sport? I know that you trained with a couple of really solid guys, but did you watch the sport growing up, and who were some of the guys that inspired you back then?
Frankie Edgar, and he also comes in, and he's a good friend of my coach.
He's an animal.
And so guys like Frank Edgar, Anderson Silva, people like that really kind of inspired me to want to start fighting. I remember when I was in like 9th grade, there was modern martial arts over here in Englishtown, and I started up over there too for a couple months.
Okay.
So from around a young age, I've always wanted to do it. Now I have the time and the resources to actually do it.
Would you say you based your style off any of those guys specifically, or did you try to kind of pull from a couple different guys?
I try to be like John Haggerty.
Okay.
From one.
I love John Haggerty. He's an absolute animal. So,
yes.
yeah, who did he just knock out? What was his name?
What was that guy's name?
Oh, I forget. But it was a beautiful knockout. I mean, he dropped him like 2-3 times, and then he put his lights out. I mean, I was already a fan of John Haggerty, and a knockout like that, it just makes you like a massive fan. He is one of the best pound-for-pound guys in the world right now. So your nickname is the Grizzly, but
Ukrainian Grizzly.
So I was going to say it's a Ukrainian Grizzly, but in your Instagram bio it says the Grizzly. Have you changed it from the Grizzly to the Ukrainian Grizzly, or did you just kind of shorten it up for the bio?
So it always was the Ukrainian Grizzly. I just shortened it up for the thing.
Okay, so you have a lot of pride in Ukraine. You brought the flag out for your last fight. I mean, just talk a little bit more about that heritage and that culture for you.
So I brought the flag out for the last fight because it was during the time of when Russia...
It was in April, right?
Yeah, yes. When Russia was attacking Ukraine. And so I wanted to stand with my people. And they were also attacking them previously during my first fight.
Okay.
And so after my first fight, I got the mic and I said, "Glory to Ukraine, Slava Ukraina." So
what does that mean?
It means glory to Ukraine.
Okay, in Ukrainian. Okay, yeah. That's really cool. So you
Lomachenko is one of my favorite fighters.
Lomachenko's his footwork is something that's like
animal.
I love his footwork.
He's an animal.
So you had those 2 fights. One was in April. One was in I want to say November.
November. Yep.
Yes. What would you say was the biggest differences that you made from fight to fight? Because you won both of those fights.
So the first fight, we underestimated the size of the kid and the experience. Mm-hmm. He was, we could say, his head was almost over the cage, and we also had around like 15 to 20 pound differential in the cage on fight night.
Okay.
It was catch weight bout, but he didn't hydrate that well.
Okay.
So in round 1, I was kind of withstanding a pretty decent storm, but I didn't really think anything was hitting me. Mm-hmm. And throwing a couple counters and body kicks, trying to weaken him up a little bit. Round 2, I came out and he was done. Mm-hmm. And I just started trying to pick him apart and got the finish.
You started cracking him with some head kicks, man. I mean, I watched that finish. It was pretty brutal. I mean, you threw I think it was 3 head kicks, and then you just kind of swarmed him with punches to the point where the ref had to stop the fight because he couldn't do anything about it. It was a very impressive win. Now, what I didn't see enough was that second fight of yours. I'd like to ask, what would you think about your performance? I think you got a couple knockdowns in that fight, so I just wanted to ask what you thought about your performance.
I knocked him down 3 times.
Ooh, okay.
I also swept his foot out from him a couple times too. It was a good back and forth fight. It was a tough opponent. Initially, when the fight started, I saw he had good distance management, mm-hmm. and he had a good teep kick. So I knew I had to go left, right, and get him from the angle, and it kind of just break through. Mm-hmm. And I knew I only had a few options: either angle out and hit him with the left, hit him with the right, or hit him with the feet, mm-hmm. or eat one and land one. So that's kind of that's what got me the first big knockdown. I just walked through it and just cracked him over the top of it. But he's a tough kid. Okay. Good, great fighter.
So you seem to really just love breaking down and just picking apart people. I can tell by the way you're talking right now, just different options on what you could do in there and how situations were going to go. It seems like you really enjoy the technical aspect of this. Is that why you chose kickboxing? Because it is known as one of the more technical.
It's very technical, and I know I have a good defensive base.
Okay.
So I don't ever feel like I'm in danger of getting hurt.
Okay.
That allows me to kind of focus more on hurting the other person, because I know if I want to throw something here, it's coming right back to my face, and this side's covered. So I love the technical side. I love knowing that I'm comfortable in there in the violence. That's why I love fighting. I love when we're toe to toe throwing haymakers at each other, and you know, that's
You
that's
just
what I
love being
love.
in there and going to war, but
Exactly.
you love to like analyze it while you're doing it.
Yes.
It's very technical. It's precise. It's awesome.
My professor Asher Albana,
Mhm.
me and him work a lot in the morning.
Okay.
He puts a lot of time in, and we really train the technical aspect of it, and we do a lot of technical stuff, technical drills, technical drilling, technical sparring, hard sparring. His game plan always works for me.
Nice. So your girlfriend Laura has been a big part of your side throughout your entire career. Just talk a little bit more about having that support and having that motivation.
She's the best. You know, she puts up with me going to training 4 to 5 days a week sometimes when I'm in camp. She really tolerates a lot of not seeing me, and she's always supporting me. Like, there's days when I'm sitting there and I'm like, Laura, I feel like I fucking suck at fighting. I'm terrible. She just, Gabe, stop. You're fine. You're good. Like, you know, like just that little comfort, I guess.
Yeah, and your little brother Alan is also here, lives with
yeah.
you. Just talk about him and your family support.
My mom gets very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
It really, like when I'm fighting, on a day that I'm fighting, her day does not start until the fight's over.
Got it.
And my dad, of course, he gets very emotional watching me fight. He gets nervous, but lately not as nervous. He saw me my first one in person with Alan. They were both there. So that was great.
Yeah, that must have been awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing. Alan loves watching. He's always so supportive, and you know he's good with the pads too. He knows how to hold the pads for me. So
that's awesome.
There's days when it's terrible out and I can't get outside. Me and him do pads. He's always happy to help.
Awesome to hear that you kind of have that amazing support system there to just kind of push you through. It's really cool.
Yes.
So just last one from me. You talked about wanting to be a professional kickboxer, go pro and everything. What promotions would you like to fight in? Do you want to be in one like Jonathan Haggerty? What are your goals in this sport?
So right now I know I'm nowhere near a level to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But in the future I hope to be on like One or Glory or even RWS.
Awesome. All right. It was amazing talking to you, man. I appreciate everything.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.